What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Veronica. We discuss lifestyle and mental health content here on this channel. And right now, you are watching a part of the interview with a life coach podcast series. Today, we have a special guest here with us, Mirtha Castro. Did I get your name right?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Wonderful. Mirtha is a grief coach. Thank you so much, Mirtha, for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Can you tell us a little bit about a grief coach and what makes a grief coach different from a life coach?
Sure. Grief coach are not like therapists or mentors. A grief coach provides valuable support in aiding individuals through their grief journey. Grief may come in many different forms, such as the passing of a loved one, the conclusion of a significant relationship, job loss. It can also include the loss of a pet and other substantial losses. Through coaching and through what I've been through myself, I think that I can provide a good stepping stone for those wishing to. I don't like to say move forward because it's hard when you go through what I've been through, but at least to know how to navigate and heal.
So, grief coaching deals with grief specifically, helping the person to manage that in a way that allows them to keep living.
Yes, yes, that sounds about right. Yes.
You could tell us a little bit about what motivated you to become a grief.
Well, my motivation stems from my loss. Probably the greatest loss that I've ever experienced in my life. You know, I've experienced job loss. I've experienced grieving my pets. I've experienced losing my dad and my mom during the same year. My ex-in-law, but the greatest pain and hole in my heart came when I lost my 27-year-old daughter in a car accident. She worked overnight. She was a vet tech, so she was working probably about 45 minutes from where she lived. And since she worked overnight, it was October 31st. It was a terrible storm here back in 2020, and they had told her to leave early. And so she did, and she was navigating through the storm, and she hit the side of a rail, managed to call it in to 911. But then another car came and hit her, and from my understanding, it was pretty instant. So as you can imagine, her boyfriend waking me up at 6 o'clock in the morning that day and hearing the terrible news, it was a shock, a total shock. My husband, my son, my in-law, they all came running. My younger son, because the older one lived on his own, came running towards me, and I just couldn't speak. And it took me many, many things that I did differently, and we can get more into that. But one of the things that, I always kept thinking, how am I going to honor my daughter? Because she was, not because she was my daughter, but she was an amazing person and very giving, very loving. She loved animals. She just loved people. You never saw her upset. I mean, clients would come yelling at her because, people with their pets, and they would mistreat her. And she would not ever lose her cool. She would just say, I understand. And she would treat everyone just incredible. And I just wanted to find a way of honoring her. And when I was doing a 200-mile journey in the Camino de Santiago, which is a pilgrimage, I just kept seeing when I came back, I thought, I know I'm going to do something when I come back. And when I did, I kept seeing the J. Shetty certification course. And it just like dawned on me. I said, that's it. That's what I want to work towards. And I am still, a work in progress, and I am still learning a lot. because I do, whoever I do, you know, coach, I really want to be the best that I can and gentle and be able to help them as best as possible.
I just want to start by saying thank you so much for coming on the show today and being so vulnerable with us. I know it's a sensitive topic and I feel like it's so important. It's something that unfortunately a lot of parents have experienced the loss of a child. It's something that you never we expect that we're going to go before our children. But the fact that you were able to find strength, it sounds like in honoring the life that you lived and giving back to others and then wanting to empower other parents and other people who are experiencing grief to find a way to continue living, to navigate through that in a healthy way.
Thank you. I think that, I always say that in each journey and each thing that I do, she's always with me and guiding me. And I just sense her, I feel her, and I know that this is the right path to take because we're all here to support each other and help each other. And sometimes when you look around and you see just everything that's going on in the world and the wars and just, some hate or just because somebody's different in one way or another and you just feel like I really want to make a difference. I want to make a difference in the world. And if it's one at a time, two at a time, however many numbers it is, it's some impact that you're doing to help someone. It's just something that I know it's going to be very fulfilling.
Definitely. What are some of the key tools that you use to help you navigate through grief or that you use with your clients? If someone's watching this podcast or listening to this podcast today and they're experiencing a loss.
Well, to be honest, I have a trip coming up, which is something my daughter wanted to do, which was go to Japan. And after I come back from my trip, then I'm going to focus more on promoting myself more. It's been a journey for me, and since we just finished, I also have a lot of things that are going on in my life besides the trip coming up. But as soon as I come back, it's something that I'm going to be working more towards. One of the things that I did, I could tell you what I've done. At the beginning, I was very lost. I think that the pillar of strength of my husband and my friends that would just pop up in my house and send me messages and, just would check on me all the time. And that support system was amazing to me. One of the other things, and I mentioned I went on a journey, I think that that was a divine intervention because it was not something that was on the horizon for me. And I was cycling one day and I bumped into my ex-boss and, we exchanged our hellos. And I asked her how she was doing. And she just looked at me and said, well, and then she told me that she had lost her husband to COVID and that she, of course, was hurting. And then I told her, well, I don't have, great news either. I mean, this is what happened to me. And we just both hugged up, just hugged each other. And then I asked her, oh, why are you walking with that cane? And she told me, no, I'm gonna go to the Camino de Santiago, which is the walk of St. James, and we're leaving next week, her and her friend. And I had heard about it, but I didn't know too much about it. And when I said, well, I'd love to hear about it when you get back. And I immediately went home and I started looking it up on the internet. And I realized, wow, this is a spiritual journey. People go for different reasons. And I think that this is something I should do. So the following week, I always walk with a friend of mine. We walk or cycle. And I told her, Lourdes, look, this happened to me last week. And I tell her the story, and she stops walking and she's like, "You're not going to believe me." And I said, "What? What happened?" And she said, "I've been praying for someone to go with me, and I haven't found anyone. And I was going to go during COVID, but the whole thing happened. And then the person that was going to go with me is no longer going. And I've been praying for a year now," or something to that effect. And I just looked at her and I said, "You're kidding." And she goes, "Wait till I show you my book. I have it all mapped out, where I'm going, where I'm going to stay." And we just said, we looked at each other and we said, "We're going to do this." And we started planning 11 months. We started training because some days the miles were going to be 15, others 20, others, 24. So I knew that I couldn't go in the condition I was in. So we started training, and throughout the whole journey of training, I can't even tell you the walking in nature and just seeing, cardinals fly in front of my face, and just different signs of animals just approaching me, that I was like, this is not, sorry. You come to understand and know that it's just beyond what you can even imagine. So you know that there's some divine intervention there somewhere. And we started our journey and we planned the whole trip. And while I was up there, it was just magical, because I cannot tell you how magical it was. I think it was the second day that we were walking, and it was one of our longest days. There's this iron cross that we were going to walk towards. And before we even got there, we had just like started. We bumped into five monks that they walk along the path and they talk to people. And one of them just stuck to us, and he walked with me, and he just talked to me so amazing, all the words that he provided to me. They even did a mass that night, and we finally reached the Iron Cross. And it's this amazing giant cross, and it's up on a hill, and people climb to it, and people leave, stones, just something like you carry a rock of burden and then you leave it there. So it's all, the bottom of it is all full of stones and cards and, all different types of things. And, I said my prayer, and I left my daughter's card in a stone. And just throughout the whole time there, I can't express how truly healing it was for me. So when I think about how I am going to help others, because like I said, everyone's on a different, they could be on different points in their grief journey. By design, I would, sit down and really speak to the person and say, know where they're at, know where they want to go, how they want to get there, and just do it by design, because I think that everyone's unique and everyone's different. And it's not a one size fits all. So it would have to be something that I would, you know, first talk to them, and then I would go to work. I would go to work and design something that I would think would be the best for them. And that's how I would do it.
Well, I love that how you mentioned having the support system of your family and then your relationship with God helped you to get through one the most difficult of life. And I think, I mean, I'm a Christian. We talk about God on my channel, so I don't want you to feel like you need to have any reservations there. But it's so important. I feel like a lot of us go through, you know, loss, or if it's a job loss or death, and not remembering the fact that death is a part of life, but sometimes it's so unexpected that we forget to look up, and people think, oh, why has God done this to me? But it sounds like you were able to find strength in your relationship with God through everything.
Yeah, it's sometimes and people could say, well, where was God during this? Why didn't he save her? Um, things happen. I can't, I can't live my life blaming him or saying why her. Um, Sometimes the signs are there and us as individuals don't listen. I don't know if she received one and she just didn't comprehend, to maybe stop. The weather was bad because I had a terrible accident when I was 18. And during the time, seatbelt law did not exist. That didn't exist. And I'll never forget, I was leaving the beach and a thunderstorm started when I was at the beach, like a sandstorm. And my friend was arriving at the time. And I was leaving. I said, no, no, we gotta go. It's really bad here. We gotta go. And she said to me, meet me at my house. And I said, perfect. I'll see you there. And as I was driving, I kid you not, I heard someone say, put on your seatbelt. Just like that, put on your seatbelt. And I went like that, and no longer did I hit click that this car came and swiped me on the side, that my car turned this way and another car was coming, so we hit head on. And my car started spinning out of control. And the car that I hit went straight to the rail, and the car that hit me took off, not knowing what happened to me. And, as I was trying to stop my car and it wouldn't stop, I couldn't put it in park. It just kept spinning. So I got so scared, I took off my seatbelt and I jumped out of the car. And as I did, this man was running towards me and he said, don't worry, I'm a doctor, I'm a doctor. I said, what? So they take me off to the side of the road and, I'm there laying and my friend, I hear her, 'cause she was behind me. So she stopped, everybody stopped. We were on the highway and he puts me on the side of the road and he's tending, my leg was all open and he's tending to me. And she comes like, what happened? And I just, I was like freaking out, And we finally made it to the hospital. I remember getting there. My mom was white as a ghost. And I don't know how I even recalled how the whole episode happened, but I did. And the cop was like wanting to give me the ticket. And I argued with him in the room. And I was like, no, it wasn't my fault. And I explained to him exactly what happened. And if you examine my car afterwards, you could see where the dent was that made me go out of control. So I knew I wasn't crazy. But it was just one of those things. And that's why I believe that yes, there is intervention, but sometimes we don't listen.
Yeah, or sometimes my mom would say sometimes God has plans for your life, and you live the life according to God's plan, and you're called home, which is
Yeah,
not a which is a peaceful transition home.
yeah.
You want knowing you'll see them again someday.
Yes, I do believe that. I see her all the time in my dreams. So that's very comforting.
Watching over you. Yeah, I believe
Yeah.
that too, that they do watch over us, trust them, trust.
Yeah. So, yeah, it takes a lot of resilience, self-talk, help from family and friends, gentleness with yourself, you know, faith for me was key. Being able to be in nature has also helped me tremendously heal. And just having again the support system that I've had, it's been amazing. My husband has been just such a force for me, such an incredible force for me that I don't know where I would be with, he is not my children's father, but he has been an amazing stepfather for them and just amazing to me. So I'm very thankful that he's in my life.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us today. You answered my next question. I was going to ask if someone's watching this podcast or listening to this podcast and they're dealing with loss. How would you encourage them to keep going? They don't know how to keep going.
I would encourage them to never give up. I would encourage them to speak with someone. I would encourage them to find their inner strength or find what will help them, how I found nature. We all have something that helps us and we know what that is. So my biggest thing is to just never give up or lose faith, whatever faith they have, whatever it is that they have. And, they have family and friends and just people that love them. And the other thing that always helped me was knowing that my daughter never wanted to see me sad. So that's what I would say.
Thank you. I'm sure she's very proud of you.
Thank you.
And then if anyone's watching or listening to this podcast and they're thinking, I would like to explore nature, I would like to keep moving forward and get up in the morning and honor the person that I love that I lost, but I don't know how to do it. I don't want to do it alone. How would they reach out to you for life coaching or grief coaching services?
I do have a website and I'm sorry that I wasn't even prepared for that. But I can definitely send you the contact information and share it with you afterwards. My number, they can always contact me via my number. I don't know if you want me to say it out loud, but uh again, I think that there's always someone willing to listen, and I know how much you want to talk to someone and not feel guilty about continuing to mention your loved one, because sometimes I know I used to feel it. I didn't want to mention her to anyone or say anything because I felt like they would say, oh, there she goes again. So, that's why I chose the coaching, because I want whoever speaks to me that they know that I'm going to be there listening and I'm going to be there interested.
That's so important too, to have a safe space for someone where they can talk with you about how they're feeling and not feel like they're being judged or like it's a burden because it's been there, right?
Yeah.
You can relate. That's so powerful in and of itself. You're such a beautiful soul to me. Thank you so much for coming on the show and being vulnerable and sharing with us. I will make sure to link all of your contact information below. Thank you guys for watching.
You know, it's hard not to get emotional. You know, it's a very hard subject.
It is, and I feel like sometimes I feel like it's okay to be a little bit emotional because in our daily lives we've been trained to bottle it up, you know? And so then that's when you have so many people going through grief and they're just eating it out or drinking it out or
Yes.
sleeping with everybody because they don't want to deal with the pain and they can't talk to anyone about it.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that we have people out there like you, like Jay Lewis, that are
Oh,
grief coaches. You know what I'm saying? Because
yeah.
you can go to therapy and that's it's good to talk about what happened, but to have
Yeah.
somebody else that can listen and help encourage you to keep living.
Yeah. It's important, and I know because I have a group that, you know, another friend of mine that lost her son. She does a never like alone Mother's Day brunch in Mother's during Mother's Day. And ooh, a lot of women that show up and go, you can tell that they're still not, they still haven't moved past that, you know, the thought of what happened. And it was one of the other things that I felt like I hope I can do something, because you don't want to walk around the rest of your life like an empty shell, you know, like just wearing that heartache on your shoulder. To me is not, you know, is not living. It's sort of like you give up. And that was a one of the other things that struck me, as I really do wish that I can do something. And at some point, probably not right away, but at some point more into my coaching, I would love to take a couple of ladies mostly, yes, up to do that walk if they would be interested. I would totally lead it.
That would be beautiful, like a retreat. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's just like a healing retreat.
yeah,
I mean, I know that you know, like grieving the loss of a child is such a unique form of grief.
yeah.
Like Jay deals with grief, but he lost his spouse. And that's still,
What?
you know, it still hurts and it's painful. But as a
Yeah,
coach that has dealt with the loss of a child themselves, someone else who's going through that, people need you.
I did a card, and it's, you see, I got so nervous. I have my business card here.
Oh,
And I put let's walk in the front. I put let's walk this path together. And then in the back, you know, you can see like, so I don't know if you can see it. You see the little, wait, let
I
me see.
it flashes up and then there it is. I see it now. Oh,
Yeah,
beautiful.
it's someone helping another person up in the mountain. And then I think I shared this with you guys. My logo in the middle is my daughter's initial, and then
Yes.
there's wings, and then there's an infinity sign. So that I did the logo with her colors and my colors together. And yeah, so that's very special to me, the logo, because it has her initials in the wings.
Yes. She's your guardian angel.
Yes.
You'll join her again eventually one day.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I love all the hearts and the love that you have back there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we could keep Valentine's Day going all year with the
Yes,
self-love and
yes.
having
Keep
fun.
it. I love it. You know, another thing that happens to me a lot is when I'm walking, and I have tons of pictures, is that I've seen hearts in trees, in leaves. I've been walking and I stumble upon a rock that looks like a heart. It's just crazy all the stuff that, I was one day riding bike and the bird I mentioned, the cardinal flew right in front of my face. Like here I am, and the
Yeah.
cardinals are signs from your loved ones because they say there's a lot of different signs that they're visiting you, the butterflies, but the cardinals were out of control. I'm going to send you a picture that I caught one, and I actually filmed it because it was going in front of us. And since I was filming it, I freezed it, and the cardinal had his wings open, and you're not going to believe it when I send it to you. It looked like an angel flying. It was the most amazing thing. And yeah, and I post all that stuff, and everyone always comments, thank you for sharing your story always with us. This is on my personal thing. You're inspirational. It's amazing, how vulnerable you are. Because, everyone always posts, oh, every life is perfect, life is beautiful. No, it isn't. Sometimes, you have to be vulnerable and show people that, you're going through stuff and it's okay. Everything isn't beautiful as you see on Instagram or as you see in Facebook. No, that's not reality, you know. So I keep it real.
Okay. Yeah. There's a song by it's Torrin Wells. I don't know if you've heard it.
No,
It's
what is
called
it called?
Hills and Valleys.
Hills and Valleys.
It's really good.
Oh,
Um,
I'll listen to it.
yeah, like and that through the hills and the valleys that were not alone.
I was gonna say I'm definitely gonna look it up.
Is what makes your style of grief coaching unique? Like I know we did, because you're certified and through this certification program, I know you have so
Mhm.
many discovery calls and um, clients that we work with as a part of the program. Did you hear anything like in particular that over and over again that sets you apart from other grief coaches?
What I heard, over and over again was how well I listened, how empathetic I was, and how I made them feel comfortable and saying what they needed to say, that they felt comfortable with me. When we were doing Launchpad, I think, were you with Chris Mita, right? Yes, you were, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, because when he said, you're all of your life experiences and you're bringing that to the table. And I was like, he's so right. I mean, I've been through so much. I've lost my house. I mean, I've had to reinvent myself twice. And and when he said that, that just was like, I just thought, yeah, why am I so afraid, of getting started? Why am I so afraid of failure when I've been through, you know, so much, and I always rise like the phoenix. So I know that once I get started, I'm just gonna, take off because that's what I have on my mind.
I love it. I see that for you too.
With God by our side and my daughter and my mom and everyone, I know that they're gonna be whispering in my ear and they're not gonna steer me wrong. I know that.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on today and I will look forward to
Thank,
catching up with you again. Oh, I'm honored. It's my pleasure.
thank you. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking to you, and it's always helpful when I do release because I it's nice to
let go. Yeah, you feel like an
Light.
energy lifted off of you. And sometimes I will like reach my hands up to God to and receive that peace that passes understanding. And
Yeah.
people look at you. How could you be happy?
Yes,
That's God.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, yes, it is. Well, thank you, Veronica. And I'm gonna send you the picture now and let's keep in contact. And anything you need, you let me know.
I will. Thank you. See, I can't wait to talk to you again soon, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Thank you. You as well.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.